guys, it's Kim here with Art Classes for Kids, and I'm here to bring you the next Blackwing Foundation's Pathways to Creativity art project. This one is an oil pastel drawing inspired by the famous artist Jasper Johns. Now, we're going to be making an artwork very similar to this. I'm going to tell you all about it and more about the famous artist right after we gather our supplies. So first, let me tell you what you're going to need to make this project. You're going to need a piece of white paper. You're going to need a set of oil pastels. You're going to need a blending stick, a glue stick and a label, a pencil, and some painter's tape so that we can tape the edges and peel it off easily. Now, if you're going to mount this at the end onto a piece of cardboard and wrap it with cellophane, you're going to need a cardboard the same size as your paper, a little piece of cellophane that's just a little bigger than your artwork, and some tape to tape it down. Now gather up all your supplies and then we'll get started. Be sure to pause the video here and gather your supplies if you haven't already. Then unpause when you're ready to begin. Hi, now that you've gathered all your supplies, let me show you how to prepare your paper for the art project. Now, you'll get a piece of paper, usually white, depends on the project. This project, we have a white paper. Now, what we're going to do is learn how to tape off and mask off the edges so that it looks like it has a fake frame. It'll look really clean. Here's an example of one of the projects. This one here, we have all this color and it's kind of a little mixy and a little bit messy, which I like because that's the style we're trying to recreate. But now the edges are nice and clean because we taped them off and then we peeled the tape and it looks like this. Now, how do we tape the edges? Well, I always use the blue painter's tape because it's a low tack, meaning it's not very sticky. And it's great to use, but it's a little more expensive and not as common as tan masking tape. You might have this as an alternative, and if you do, you can use this, but you have to barely press it down because it's a lot stickier and it's harder to get off of your paper. Now, I'm going to take this tape and I'm going to line it up with the edge. I start pretty close to the corner, as close as I can, and then I go all the way to the other edge like this. And then I lightly rub it down. What I want to do is either cut it from the corner like this carefully without cutting the paper, or I'll show you on my next demonstration how to rip the tape. Now, I'm going to the next side and I'm going to overlap the last piece of tape I put on there and line it up with the edge. Then I'm going all the way to the other edge, like that, and I rub it down. Now what I do is I hold my pointer finger, my index finger, and my thumb together and squeeze them, and then I hold the tape really close to where my other thumb is, and I rip away. And all of a sudden, I get this perfect cut. It's not gonna work perfect maybe the first time. The more times you do it, the more you get how to rip it. And also, it saves time later, but it takes a little practice to do that. Now here's something that goes wrong a lot of the time, is that maybe you put the tape down and it starts out really good, but when you get down to the other end, there's some white showing. Now, if this happens to you, just reposition it. Just peel it back off like this and position it, by pressing down and lining it up and making sure that white doesn't show. You can even press it halfway down and just keep pressing it as you go and lightly rub it. If it gets a little wrinkle in it, don't worry, as long as it's pressed down. Now, if you're on a table, a white table and a white paper, if you have a matching tabletop as your paper, it's hard to see the edges. Just grab something that's a different color. Like I got a piece of cardboard. If I put that there, I can really see my white edge good. And lastly, when you put it down, oh, one more thing. This, if you have it the other way where the tape is hanging out like that, and it's not straight, and you can see it from the back, you gotta correct that too. Otherwise, all your borders won't be the same, all your margins. So you can easily pull that tape off again and reposition it. Next, this is our last side. So I start out like this, and I line it up. Now I can rip it, I can cut it, but what I don't wanna do is tear it way over here and wrap the tape around it. Because if you do that on all four sides, it takes a lot of time to pick this tape off when it's in the back. And it's hard, sometimes it's under the other piece of tape. It's just kind of a mess and it takes a lot more time. So I would advise don't wrap it around. And then what I want to do is clean it up. I want my back to be without tape on it and my front to have 4 clean edges. And once I have that, I'm good to go and I'm ready to start making some cool art. Okay, hopefully you've got all your supplies and you're ready to go. Now what I want to do is start out by completing our name on the label. You can put your first name or your first and last name, and you definitely want today's date. Now, once you have that date on there, you're going to be able to look back later in life and see when you made this. That's also going to tell you how old you were way back then if you do the math. You want to save this maybe forever. Maybe you'll give it to somebody as a gift and they'll always know who made it and when they made it. So set this label aside till the end of the project. Next, what we're going to do is we're going to learn a little bit about Jasper Johns. Now, Jasper Johns is an American artist, and he's mostly known for his flag paintings and his number paintings. He liked to use subject matters that everybody was familiar with, and then he thought it was interesting for them to take a different look at something they see all the time and see it in a new way, and he would do that with his art. This painting is one of his most famous. It's called 0 through 9, and that's because there are numbers layered on top of each other, 0 through 9. If you look at this really closely, you might be able to make out some of the numbers, but they're almost like they're hidden because they're overlapping and they're colored with various colors in different sections. And we're going to be making something just like this with oil pastels. Now, to make this, what we'll need to do is we're going to make the numbers. Now, to make the numbers, we're going to be using a simple method of outlining a single line number. Now, let me show you what that is like. If I just take a regular piece of paper, and if I make the letter or the number 1, and then a 2 and a 3, just to give you an idea, if I go around the number, I've made a block number. If I go around another number, I'm making another block number. This is like we're outlining without touching our original number. And if we were to erase the number in the center, it would look like a thick block number. Like this. Now, Jasper Johns had a font that he really liked called Bodoni. Now that's a little fancier, especially for your age. That would be if we had a 1 and we gave it a serif. A serif is like a tail on a number, like this. And if you had a 2, it might have a round tip and a tail on the end. And a 3 might look like this. Now that's a little fancier, and that's a big challenge. But if you're the kind of kid that likes to write really cool letters all the time, you might want to go for it. Now we've got block style, we've got the Bedoni style, and now I'll teach you the easiest one. The easiest one would be like a bubble letter. That's where you have numbers and you just go around them with curved endings. Kind of like this. And then once you erase the letter on the inside, it looks like a puffy number, kind of like a balloon number. Like without the inside guideline number, you can see the shape coming out as a bubbly, puffy letter. So you're going to decide which one of those styles you like. I'm going to go ahead and do the block letter because I think that's not the easiest and not the hardest, the one in between. So now that we know what kind of lettering we're going to do, and you can practice on a piece of paper first if you'd like. Now that we know what we want to do, we have to decide what numbers do we want to do. And that's something that Jasper Johns thought about. And he also thought about the viewer looking at his art, trying to figure out what those numbers represent or what they mean. So let's pick a number that means something to you. Maybe it's the last four number of your parents' phone number, or maybe it's 4 numbers of your house address, or maybe your house address has 5 or 6 numbers. Maybe it's your birthday, which is 6 numbers if you just take the number of the month, the day, and the year. So you can just decide what numbers mean something to you. So I think I'm going to pick the 4 numbers that are in my house number. Those are 1, 5, 0, and 9. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a number 1 in the middle of my paper, just like this. And I'm doing it lightly because I'm going to erase it. That's why we're using the pencil before we use the oil pastels. So I pick a number 1, and now I need to turn that into this style, the block style, because I think it's not the hardest and it's not the easiest. Here's how you do it. You go down the side without touching the 1. You go around the end like you're going around a box. You come back up and you go around till you close it up. Once I have that shape, I'm going to erase my guideline, which was my number to start with. And I made sure I didn't go all the way to the blue tape or to the top of my paper or to the bottom because I want to have a little space around my number. So next what I'm going to do is pick my second number, which I decided mine's going to be 5 because that's the second number in my address. So now I'm going to make a big 5. If I don't want to make a big mess, I could always use my eraser as a guideline. I could rub my eraser and make a 5 and see if I got it big enough. And then I could draw on top of that lightly. And then I could erase my eraser crumbs. And now I'm going to make the block letter. So I'm going to start at one end. I'm going to start with the flat end. Go across, go down. I'm going around this letter without touching the line. And I want to have at least some distance around it. So 1, 5. Once I get that, I'm going to erase my light guideline to the 5. So hopefully you're still with me after we've done 2 numbers. Now, if you need more time, don't forget, you can always pause this video, catch up, and when you're ready, or others that are doing it with you are ready, push play again and you'll be right with me. So next what we're going to do is my 0. I've got 1, 5, 0, and 9. So my 0 I'm going to make right here. Ooh, that was a weird 0. I'm going to fix that one and make it a little puffier on the right. And now I'm going to go on a 0, I'm going to go around it on the outside and then around it on the inside because I need 2 edges of my block letter. So I'm going around the inside. I press a little darker than my guide 0, the one that I'm going around. And now I'm going to erase the guideline 0. Alrighty, so now I've got 1, 5, 0, and I've got one more number, which is going to be the 9. So now there's a lot going on here. So it's kind of hard to tell where all my lines are. But take your time, draw really light, and put a number 9. I'm going to do a 9 with a curved tail because it looks like the O, or the 5. So now I'm going to go around the 9, dark, all the way around the outside. And now I see the inside of the 9s here going around that. Now I'm erasing the original 9 line. It's the one I did a little lighter. Brush away my eraser crumbs, and now I've got all these lines overlapping each other. I want to make sure I can still see my 1. That was the first thing I did. Now I've got this layer of 4 numbers that means something to me. This is my home address. This is where I'm at every day. So I'm looking over at Jasper Johns, and you see how all the numbers are on top of each other. But the background's all different colors too. So what we're going to do is I'm going to divide the background into a couple of different sections. So I'm just going to break it up. So now I have different sections in the background, just like that. Once you have this, you're ready to start with the oil pastels. So I set this down. I'm going to grab my oil pastels, and I think on this one I did a really dark outline. On this one they have more of a lighter outline. I'm going to take, red for my outline. So I'm taking red, and now I'm going to go over every pencil mark with red. So start here, go all the way around. So anywhere you see a pencil mark, try to stay right on it. It's kind of hard to do. Look, I went off a little, but I'm not going to worry about it. You know, you don't have to be absolutely perfect. So now I did my 9. Whoops, there's my 9. Maybe I'm going to go backwards. Now I'm going to do O, 0. And then there's the inside of the 0. Now I'm going to do the 5. And last, I'm going to do the 1. I'm also going to do all these little sectional lines that I made. So now I've got mine all outlined. So what Jasper Johns did, he did with paint. We're doing it with oil pastels, but we're going to treat oil pastels like paint by mixing them and blending them with a blending stick. So what you're going to do is pick a color and add another color or 2 to that color in every section. I'm going to limit my palette or my choice of colors for my work of art to 5 colors. So I'm going to use yellow, red, orange, purple, and maybe, and blue. Yes, so I have these 5 colors. And actually, I'm going to peel this one a little because it's starting to get used up. And I think I'll peel my purple one a little. And my yellow. And I think I'm almost set. Okay, so these are my 5 colors that I'm going to use. I've got my blending stick, and now I'm going to start maybe in the top left corner. I'm going to take a color, and I'm going to just color it in. Don't worry if it slightly mixes with your outline color. Oop, I just broke that one. Don't worry if it mixes, because guess what? We're going to be doing some mixing. So now I'm going to add some orange to that. I don't have to add it to the whole section, just somewhere. Then I can take my blending stick. I've got yellow, I've got orange in part of it, and I'm going to rub it around in circles. And it's going to mix kind of like paint. And now I go to my next section. This one I think I'll do, oh, all mine are breaking. Okay, I'm going to do red and some purple. Now I'm going to take my blending stick, I'm going to mix it up. Now I'm going all the way to the edge of my tape. Because as you see over here, once you take the tape off, you've got this beautiful, clean, white mat around it. So we want it to be nice and clean on the edges, but we're gonna make it messy inside the art. Okay, so now I'm going to do a small, little bitty shape, which is like right here. It's a little bitty shape. I probably don't even want to mix anything to that because it's so small. So now I'm going to a new color. I haven't used blue much. So I'm going to add blue. Maybe I'll do two sections that are blue. And I'll add some purple here. And I'll mix those in. Those didn't have another color. And that's because it was the tiniest little spot. So I'm going to a bigger space here. This one I'm going to do blue lightly. And I'm going to add some yellow. So now when I mix that, what color do you get? Green. Okay, I've got green here. I'm going to add some purple in that tiny triangle, and I'm going to keep going. So now you can do this at your own pace, or we can all do it together, step by step, shape by shape. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to tackle another big shape. This one I'm going to do orange, kind of dark here, and maybe lighter over here. And then I'll add some yellow to the middle. But since this shape's big, I'm going to add some purple to part of it because it's such a big shape. Now I do my mixing or my blending, but it's like mixing. You can call it mixing or you can call it blending. Alrighty, and I keep going. So this section right here, I think I'm going to start with yellow. And which color do I have? Yellow and some red. And then I mix that up. I'm not even going to put anything over there. I'm just going to see what happens when I just rub the stick on it. That's kind of cool. So we're just experimenting with these materials, seeing what happens. If I just put blue here and then I put some orange on it, let's see what that turns into. I'm only going to put orange on half. And I'm going to mix it, and it turns kind of brownish green. It's kind of light. Now I'll try purple here with a little bit of blue. Mix it together, and so on. So I'm going to keep going. You guys go at your own pace, and let's see how it all comes out. Oh, let's try some red here. I'm going to mix it. Oh, keep it going. Yellow. This is a big section, so I can do more than one color in it if I want. Let's see. How about red? I'm going to mix that all up. When you mix it, you just want to get all the white spots out of your section that are just the paper that might still be showing. See how this is looking so far? It's kind of looking like a painting. Alrighty, I'm going to keep going. I'm about a third done. Okay, we're cruising along. Add a little blue. I'm going to add blue here. I'm going to add blue in like 4 spots. Now I'm trying to use one color in 4 spots and then mix maybe purple here, red, yellow over here, maybe some yellow here and here. So you can kind of, you know, do like 4 shapes at one time. Making sure I get all the way to the edge. Maybe this one I only want to keep red. And this one's a mix of like 4 colors. Alrighty, let's keep it going. Okay, yeah, I'm gonna put yellow in 4 spots. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Now I'm going to mix red in this one with a little blue. This one I'll mix some blue. This one I'll mix some purple. And this one I'll mix some orange. So all of them got a different color. Mix that up. Ooh, pretty fun. We're gonna keep it going. Now I'm gonna do 4 shapes with purple. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Now to add some color to them, I'm gonna add a little blue, a little yellow, because that's a big shape. This one's gonna get a little yellow, and orange here. Okay, time to mix it up. This is a big shape. Got a lot of mixing to do here. Now, if it doesn't blend so well, add a little more color. Maybe you didn't have enough pastel in it. So these pastels are oil-based. That's what they're called, oil pastels. And oil likes to slide. So when you use the blending stick, you're kind of sliding the colors together. Okay, now let's try orange in 4 sections. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, I'm gonna add yellow to the little section, purple over here, blue over here, and red to, where was I? Over here. Okay, time to mix it up. Did I get them all mixed? I think so. Okay, we're getting down to only a few shapes left. So I'm gonna go with purple here. And some blue. I'm gonna make this blue really dark in the middle. And purple here. And purple here. And purple here. Okay, I like the blue mixture. So I think I'm gonna do blue for all of them. Now I'm gonna do the mixing. Alrighty, now it looks like this. We're getting ready to almost have the entire thing filled. So let's go with red. I'm gonna add red in 4 spots. 1, 2, 3, and 4. I'm gonna add blue to 2 of them. Oh, I keep pushing so hard that I'm breaking my pastels. That's okay, they still work broken. Okay, and now I'm going to add orange to this one, orange to this one, and yellow to part of that one. Yellow, yellow. Now remember, you're using all the colors you want to use. Don't worry about the colors I'm using. So now we're mixing that up, mixing that up. I think I got them all. Now we've got about, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. I got 14 shapes left. Let's do purple. I like this purple. Purple. These shapes are getting small though. I might not be able to mix too much extra colors in them. Okay, I'm gonna do like 5 spots that time. I'm gonna add red to a few, orange to a few. Okay, time to blend. Blend and mix. Okay, we're down to the last few shapes. I think I'm going to use yellow in some and not even mix with it because all the smallest spots, I'm doing yellow. And then the two left, I think I'll do orange. But maybe I'll add a little blue to those. Okay, now I'm going to blend. And it looks like this, but it's not done yet because we are going to add some lighter whites to some of the areas. Just little spots of white. That's going to be our finishing touch. So I take my drawing, I'm going to put back all my pastels, and then I'm going to gather up the white. Here's the white, blue. Okay, I broke most of them, but that's okay. Okay, so, oh, that's not white. This one's white. Okay, so now we've got our number work of art, but it's gonna get that highlight. I've got my 4 numbers, 1509 with my red outlines, my 5 different colors, blend it all together. Now we're gonna go through areas. We're just gonna add some white, some little, whoops, see I'm pressing so hard, some white scribbles. So I'm gonna add some white scribbles. I'm trying not to cross through my lines, my outlines. So we're adding this little touch. Now if you see a curve, you can make your white be in a little curve and have it outside of it. I want every shape to have at least a little bit of white in it. Now if you have a dark shape, the white shows up more. Now also when you have a broken pastel like I have, it's easy to use it sideways. So I'm going to, every shape is going to get a little bit of white. And now it looks a little bit like this. So we brightened it up a little with that white. And now we're going to move all of our supplies off to the side. And we're gonna wipe our hands off on something. If you have a paper towel nearby or a napkin, I just wipe mine on the tablecloth, but that's because it's okay. This is the last time I'm using this tablecloth. But now what we're going to do is we're gonna carefully remove the tape. What you do to carefully remove the tape is you find an end and then don't put your fingers on the white. You can use the parts of your hands that are clean and you just peel it slowly and evenly away. Like this, I can turn it, but make sure your hand's clean. You don't want any spots on your white area. I turn it again and I keep peeling away. And I've got one more side to go. I've kept it clean, which is amazing. And I'm going to peel this to reveal my final work of art. And it turned out like this. Ta-da! So this is how mine turned out. See how clean it looks once you pull that tape off, even though the artwork itself is a little bit messy? Well, this is the style that Jasper Johns liked. He liked to see the brush strokes or the strokes that we drew. Those are important to his style of art. And we're emulating his style because we're inspired by his famous 0 to 9 painting that he did actually in 1961. Now, if you want to learn a little bit more about Jasper Johns, you can Google Jasper Johns art and find all kinds of art on him and find out his story. And, if you want to know more than just about this work of art, I hope that you enjoyed doing this project and you had fun using oil pastels and blending. Until I see you next time, keep making cool art. If your class will be framing their artwork, I'm going to show you how to do that right now. If your class isn't framing your artwork, no worries. I'll just catch you on the next lesson. Now, what you're going to need to frame the artwork are a few supplies. You're going to need a cardboard backing that matches the size of the artwork that you are going to mount. You are going to need a glue stick, tape, your label, and a piece of cellophane. It might be rolled up or it might be flat. And you're going to need something to mount the artwork. Well, before I get started on mounting, I'm going to make sure that I have my label, that maybe you've already written your name and date and maybe you haven't. If you haven't, get that name and date on there. It's really important to know when you made it because you might have this thing for years, for decades. Your parents might frame it and stick it in their home and they want to know, how old were you when you made that? And they can figure that out from the date. Or maybe you're going to be really successful and it's going to be worth millions of dollars one day. Who knows? I put a little glue on the back of that. You don't need tons of glue, just enough to stick it down. And then you're going to put it on the back. How do you know? Are you going to put it where the art's vertical or where it's horizontal? Well, you got to decide by what kind of art you have. I have a vertical piece, so I need my label to read vertically. And there it is. I flip it over and now I'm going to make some tape loops. Well, this curly tape that I just took off, I can reuse because, you know, it's less trash in the earth. So what I do is I roll it the same direction it unrolled and I make a tape loop and I just press it down. Then I make another one. That's messy, but it's still gonna work. No one's gonna see it as long as the sticky side is out. I don't want it to hang over the edges because then it might show. I only need 4 of these and I also press them down. I don't keep them in a puffy loop shape. So I have this big ball of tape. I just pull off some of it somewhere and then roll it up, press it down. So now I've got my 4 pieces of tape. I'm going to lay this on top and I'm going to match up the corners so it's flush with the board. Whoop, it's not over there, so I adjust it. And I push it down, but I don't touch the art because I don't want it to smear. It might be oil pastel, it might be chalk pastel, it might be something else that's smeary. So now I'm ready to wrap with cellophane. So I take my cellophane and I open up the roll if it's not a flat piece, and I don't want it to keep rolling up. So I'm going to flip it over so it doesn't roll up. Then I lay it out and I center this, or if it's a lot bigger, I can see that I have even amounts on each side, but this side I got a big piece. So I can just trim that. Don't over trim it, make sure it can fold over to the back. And now just remove that. And I'm going to start on one side. I'm going to fold over. It's kind of like wrapping a gift. And I need my tape handy. I might have a little tape that doesn't have a weight on it, and then I'm just keeping it really close to me. But what I'm doing is I'm going to rip it and whip it on the tape. Gonna rub that down. I go to the opposite side that I just taped. That's across from it. And I put my second piece of tape. Then I do the 2 sides. I fold it over, put 1 piece of tape there, go to the opposite side, right over here. Fold it over, get my tape on it. Now I do each of the corners. What I want to do is tuck in the cellophane so it doesn't show from the front. How I do that is I pinch this together, makes a little triangle, and then I fold this a few times and roll it down. And I can use 1 piece of tape, or if I need 2, I can always use 2. Then I turn this and I do the next corner. And I turn it again, and remember I pinch it, I fold it, I roll it until it's flat. Make my tape go across, and the last corner, I pinch it together, I fold it, I roll it, and I press down. And I check it out. It looks like it's nice and tight. Let's see what it looks like on this side. Oh, nice and tight. Now I can rub my hand on top of it and it doesn't smear. Ta-da! And this is how it turned out. So this is going to protect it. It makes a great presentation and it makes me feel like my artwork is amazing. And also, your artwork is amazing. Everyone's is going to look different. No one's gonna look exactly like mine, but it doesn't need to. I just want you to have fun making cool art, learning about new artists, and building some skills while I teach you a few new techniques. I hope you're having fun making cool art, and we'll see you at the next lesson.